Hey, everybody. Today on the Agent Excel podcast, we have our guest, Kyle Keller. What's up, Kyle? How you doing?
Hey, Chris, how are you doing?
I'm,
Appreciate you having me on.
yeah, for sure, man. I'm glad you jumped on. You reached out to me a few months ago. I was on a podcast and you reached out and you're like, hey, I do some investing in real estate. And we just kind of had a little conversation from there. And then probably a few weeks ago, I was like, hey, I want to get Kyle on the show and just kind of talk about his journey being the realtor out there selling, retail for clients. And then also, probably taking some of your funds and investing it in real estate. So kind of just want to go over all that. Is that good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, man. Hey, so kind of take me back. I don't know anything about your journey in real estate. How long have you been selling real estate, and just kind of bring me from why you got into, what things look like now?
Yep. So I got my license back in 2001. So, it's been a long time. When I got my license, the market wasn't doing a whole lot, right? And then all of a sudden we had the crazy run up in 2005 and survived the crash, and then now still selling real estate. And really during that crash is when I started flipping homes, buying investment properties and stuff like that during that time. So it was not a good time in our industry, but I actually turned it into a good opportunity, stacked up some money while I was flipping homes, and then started buying rental properties in 2012.
Okay. So what made you want to get into real estate in 2001? What was the reason you said, I'm going to go out and get licensed?
So my parents actually took us to model homes when we were kids. I don't know if that sparked something in me, but I think it's funny that they did that when we were kids. And I've always been an entrepreneurial mindset, love investing, love making money and helping people. And real estate's one of the biggest things that people do in their life, and I wanted to be a part of it. And it just worked out perfect for me. I was actually going to GCC, which is a Glendale Community College, got my associate's degree, and was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad in the library and in between class and everything. And once I got done finishing that book, I made the decision to stop going to school, get my real estate license, and never look back. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. That book sparked so many people, I think, becoming realtors.
yeah.
It's so cool to see that one book can inspire so many people. So what was the time gap between you getting your license and starting to flip? So 2001, you got your license. When did you start flipping homes?
Yep. So I bought my first home in 2004. And then, my wife and I bought another property. So that was January 2004, bought another property in October 2004, and then made that other one my rental property. So it's kind of like an accidental, deal, turned my primary into a rental. And then we bought another property a year later. So, within about a year and a half, we had 3 properties, 2 were rentals, and then the one that we lived in. So
okay.
Didn't start actually flipping homes until about 2008. And then I partnered up with an investor client of mine in 2010 and did a 50-50 partnership. And he was the money guy from Colorado. And, I'm the guy here on the ground helping get all the deals put together. I didn't do any of the work myself, but, I'd say we had about 25 flips that we did, was the most that we ever did in 1 year.
Wow.
But we flipped over 75 homes. Last year was the first year we didn't actually have a flip going on.
Okay.
So our last one that we did was, started in 2010, ran all the way to 2020. We finished our last flip right when COVID hit.
Okay.
And, luckily we got out of that okay. I thought the market was going to crash, to be honest, but did the complete opposite. So, market's good right now.
Yeah. So let's kind of attack this from 2 angles, because you've got your real estate, production that you do just through clientele. And then you've got your, the flips that you don't do as much anymore. And then you're buy and hold. So let's go back to, just the retail side of you helping customers. So what's that journey been like for you? Kind of explain, where you're at in that, where you started and kind of where you're at now, because you've been doing it for quite a while.
Yep, been doing it for a long time. And, right now I have a small team. So I have a full-time assistant. She's been with me now for about 6 years. She has a escrow background. She was an escrow officer for about 15 years. And then my parents are on my team, and that's been great. I got licensed in 2001. They got licensed in 2005. And so we have a small family team. My last name is Keller, but I am not Gary Keller's son. I do get people that ask me about that. But I mean, it's been great. We don't advertise on park benches. We don't do, a lot of big marketing things like that. I mean, mainly our business is repeat and referrals from, the last 20 years of selling homes. So, thank God I have, clients that enjoy working with us and call us and continue to use us.
So when you say your parents work for the team, are they agents or are they like on the admin side?
Yep. They're both agents as well.
Nice. So is it those are your two agents that you have, and then your admin, right?
Yep. Correct.
Right on. So are they mainly doing like repeat and referral business as well, or their network, or is it something where you generate leads through another form as well?
Yep. So we're generating leads through FirePoint, FirePoint leads, Facebook ads, and then they're helping with my buyers as well. So we're kind of doing a mix of everything.
Okay. Let's kind of talk about that as far as like lead sources. So tell me all the lead sources that you get business from right now. Like, so you just said a few of them. Are those, I don't know what the first one was, the
FirePoint.
Yeah. So is that just like an online,
pay-per-click.
like pay-per-click? Okay, cool. Yeah, we do that as well. What's your, because what I like to do is just, I really want to help the agents out there that are trying to, add a leg to their business or something like that, like take away and actually go implement something. So with the pay-per-click game that you're doing, what does that look like behind the scenes? Because I know we have a pretty big budget for that as well. And I mean, they can come in, but you've got to also do a little bit of work. So what does that look like for like a logistical standpoint?
Yep. So basically through FirePoint, it's a pay-per-click system, and then basically the leads come in. It's kind of a jump ball. The leads come in and who's ever available is going to be the one that jumps on the call. And then we have it set up too to where we have a pond. And then so, if we don't have leads that we're currently working on, you can jump in the pond and try to pull people out of there. So the conversion rate is, I'd say our conversion rate's around 2%, which, is kind of standard. We also get leads from HomeLight as well. So HomeLight, pay-per-click, you're going to be basically paying money for all of these ads, and they might not work out, right? About 2% of them do. HomeLight, for some of the agents that might not know, is anybody can join that. I don't know if you're doing that, Chris, but basically you can, they send out leads and then you pay a 25% referral fee once it closes. So you don't have any, monthly cost, but then you do pay a referral fee.
Okay. Yeah, no, we don't do that. We have a Zillow Flex account that takes a pretty healthy referral fee at the top, but it makes sense if you can run a business around it. They deserve to get their cut if they generated the lead, and we've got to go be the workhorses. So,
Exactly.
okay. So when you say leads come in and it goes, it's kind of a, jump ball and then it goes to a pond. Is that you and your parents that are doing that as far as calling back leads?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's really, the first time you're not really converting things right away, right? It's a follow-up game. So, you just have to be good at follow-up and take good notes and everything. And, I mean, we've had some that we've reached out to for a year that never returned a phone call. Mm-hmm. And then they finally called me one day and said, hey, we want to sell our house. And it ended up being $1 million listing. So, it works, but you have to work the system.
Yeah, they're good leads. I talk to people all the time about pay-per-click. I mean, I'm just personally just rattling off stuff. I mean, we just put like a 750 listing on last week, pay-per-click, helped a buyer for 820 2 weeks ago, closed on an 830. You know what I mean? So you're just, But you hear, so let me ask you this, because I got a message the other day from a realtor and she was talking about pay-per-click with me. And she's like, I don't understand why it doesn't work for me. What would you say the difference is between someone like you and I that would say, hey, we have success on it, and then the realtor that says, hey, it doesn't work for me. I've been trying, and it's not as if they don't have the budget for it. And it's not as if they haven't been doing it a length of time. This person said they've been doing it for a while and had a pretty decent budget.
Yeah.
Where do you think that these people come into the same game that we're playing, same market, and we can find success in it, but they can't?
I think part of it comes down to mindset as well, right? I mean, if you're telling yourself that these leads aren't good, pay-per-click is a good lead source. I mean, it kind of comes true, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you do have to have a good mindset and actually believe that you're going to contact these people. Also make sure to contact them immediately, or, within a minute or two. I mean, otherwise, if you don't jump on the leads right away, I mean, there's so many leads that are getting sold to a ton of agents that, if you're not making a good call right away, connecting with them, setting up an appointment, and doing continuous follow-up, it's just not, you're just throwing money away.
Yeah, mindset. I like what you said. I think it's knowing. I mean, just think, I think this through and I'm like, okay, 2% conversion, right? I mean, we're actually lower. And so that's going into a game knowing that 98 of the people are never going to transact with you, right? So you're saying, hey, two of them are going to. That obviously is mindset, knowing that 2 out of your 100 are actually going to do business with you. So I think at the end of the day, we're just playing an ROI game on, does this actually make sense financially? So let me ask you this, because I do this podcast sometimes selfishly to learn from people and then just, send it out. But I'm trying to figure out how to, I mean, we hold our pay-per-click money and dollar accountable. How are you keeping track of it?
I mean, it's all run through the system.
Okay.
Every month we get a report from FirePoint on the ad spend that they do. We have money allocated, and then we get that back showing how much we're paying per lead. And then, we're kind of tracking it on our back end and through our other system. So that's the thing. I mean, realtors, I have FirePoint, we have Command for Keller Williams. Everybody's using different systems. So it is a little logistic nightmare sometimes to try to keep everything together. But,
Yeah.
Once you get it kind of set up and, the team's on board with it, it flows pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So is your repeat and referral business like predominantly the more deals you close a year?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you do? Let's talk about that, because that's that's the one that I think everybody wants more of, right? But they sit back and think, well, what do I do? What does your marketing plan look like for all the people that have transacted with you, past clients, maybe just people in your network? What does that whole yearly plan look like?
Yep. So what we're doing right now, I mean, we're doing a monthly mailer where we're just mailing to our clients, on a monthly basis, one time. And then mainly it's Facebook, just on Facebook, we're interacting with our clients as much as possible. We do like quarterly calls as well with our clients. And then the other thing too is during the holidays, I do a 12 days of Christmas giveaway. We were doing like actual events, and then COVID hit. And so I had to kind of regroup a little bit, but do a 12 days of Christmas, give away a video in the morning and then a video at night with the drawing. And that was, I think, our third year this last year. And it's been a great turnout. So people are seeing me, 24 times in 12 days right before Christmas. And, just keeping in touch with our clients. That's what you have to do.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I saw, I follow you on Facebook and saw you do that this Christmas. And I was like, I'm going to do that next year. So like, what does that process look like? You just just go buy 12 things. Are you just doing that through social, or do you market it any other way, or is it all just through social?
Just through social.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I try to come up with a theme on what we're going to do, and then try to pick gifts around, what the theme is. This last year, it was straight out of quarantine. So, back to normal and stuff like that. And our final giveaway that we did was actually a 2 or 3 night stay to our cabin up in Pine Top that we bought.
Okay.
So that's a VRBO, and give, one of our clients a chance to go check out Pine Top.
Okay. Right on. So what else do you do as far as before COVID? Were you doing like live events or anything like that with your past clients?
Yep. So we did a couple Christmas events. One year we brought in snow, had it at our house actually, and had a Santa Claus there. That was a cool event, and had a videographer there, had pictures. We got donuts from Donutsville. It was a blast. The kids had a great time. It destroyed our grass, but
for a good time and a profit, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you suggest to agents out there right now who don't get repeat and referral business? I talk to a lot of agents, and I have agents that call me all the time, ask me questions, how I could help. And I have some people that I know do 8 to 10 deals a year for the last 8 years. And they're just like, I don't get the repeat and referral business. Yeah, I don't get people to come back or refer me business. What do you think that agent's doing like wrong that they could still be doing, 5 to 10 transactions a year, but they're not getting that compound effect that an agent like you is getting, where it starts to just build and people are more throwing business at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that people might be missing is doing reviews or getting reviews anyways on Zillow. I do get a lot of, referrals and stuff from other agents as well. I mean, it depends on what company you work for. Keller Williams is a big company all around the world. So my last name's Keller too. I don't know if that helps, but we have 160 something reviews, I think, now on Zillow. And so that gets us a lot of traction. And then, again, it's, if you take care of your clients, right, and keep in touch with them, I mean, they're just naturally going to be coming back to you. I don't use scripts necessarily when I talk to people and, hey, Chris, this is a business call and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just keeping in touch with my people and, being a resource for people, right? If they're looking for somebody to remodel their home, if they want to refinance their property, need a handyman or anything like that. I mean, just, you want to be the go-to source for people, all things real estate.
I'm glad you said that. That's actually my biggest connect with my past clients is almost daily. Like before we jumped on this podcast, I had Christina text me and say, hey, do you have a garage doorman?
Yeah.
And I am so quick to the punch on those. And it's like handyman, plumber, electrician, roofer, pool guy. I've realized now that I'm like the Bowers list, like the Angie's list. But that's what I want is, they text you. And I feel like if I really think that agents should go out there and really build that network. And I tell all my clients when we close, hey, when you have anything you need, but I think it's like, once again, it's mindset, because some agents will think I closed this deal, I got the check, don't call me when you have problems. Mine's totally shifted where I'm like, please call me when you have all your problems, because I'm hope that I'm still the solution 3 years later for you, that I could help you connect the dots between a problem and a solution. And that for, that month you think of me again and you're like, oh yeah, he helps me solve my challenges.
Exactly.
That's actually one of our next marketing pieces we're going to do is send out our Bowers list of all of our contractors with our magnet, just to let them know like, hey, these are the people.
Cool.
But yeah, so I'm glad you said that. So when did you say you started doing the flipping of homes?
So flipping started in 2010.
And how do you flip homes for people? And I know you said you weren't doing the work, so it sounded like guy in Colorado was more of the finance guy. You were more boots on the ground, but just kind of the watching the project of people doing the work. How does someone do that many flips in a year and still transact real estate?
Yep, it was difficult. So it was not easy, but really that was back when the REDC auctions were going on. I don't know if you remember that, but on the garage door, they'd have a huge sign that said 900 homes selling this weekend. One of my brokers at First USA, when I worked there, had a bank-owned listing. So we did an open house and we had, on a normal open house, you get maybe 5 to 8 people through, it seems like, unless you do a mega open house, right? And we had 180 different groups of people through in 3 days. So, and that was back in 2008 when you couldn't find anybody to buy a house, right? There were 60,000 plus homes on the market. You couldn't give a house away, but then all of a sudden, for the auction, that's where everybody was. So I made some good connections there, met that investor that I, became business partners with. And, I had a friend at the time that was buying homes at the trustee sale down at the courthouse steps. And we actually bought a couple homes through him, flipped those, and then we switched to a different company. But that's what we did. I mean, we were buying homes down at the trustee sale.
Interesting. So how, like, if you don't mind me asking this, what do you think your average on flipping homes was at the time?
I mean, our goal was to, our goal was to make 10% on our money.
Okay.
So that was our goal. So we had a spreadsheet, we ran all the comps and did all the bid sheets based off that 10% number. And then that's what we went with. Luckily, the market was kind of going up at the time too. It was easier to find contractors at that time because everybody was looking for work.
Right.
And, getting the materials and everything was a lot less expensive than it is now. But it was definitely a challenge. I mean, I would say overall the homes that we flipped, I mean, me and my business partner each probably made $1 million in total, based off of like the last 10 years. I think the highest year we did was around 350 something each.
Okay. And that was just on the flipping, right?
Yes.
Very cool.
Yep. And I saved all that money from like 2010 until 2012. I didn't pull out any money out of our company. And then finally in 2012, I decided I wanted to start buying more properties and, getting passive income.
So in 2012, you had three properties that you owned?
Yep. So in 2012, we had two. We ended up selling one of them.
Okay.
And then we ended up in 2012, and then we bought another one. So yeah, we went down to two and then back up to three and then continued from there.
So in 2012, what was in you that made you think, hey, I want to park my money in, having properties and renting them out? Like was that a shift that you had, or was it a goal you had for a long time and now just goal you had and money that you'd saved all met at the same time?
Yeah. So, I mean, I want passive income, right? I mean, most agents are, just helping people buy and sell real estate. We don't have 401ks. We don't have a retirement plan. So unless you're actually, buying rental properties and building wealth for yourself, you're going to be a realtor forever, right? Or build a team and, or sell your team at some point. Really, for me, it was back in 2008 when the market crashed. My income went in half, right? Like everybody. So I was selling just as many homes, but I was making half the money. And, I really wanted to have a way of making money without me working for it, right? Just having another income source. And so, also we put money into the stock market, into our retirement account. And that was when the market fell apart. And I'm like, money at 65 will be great, but I need money now. Yeah. What can I do now and invest in now and get monthly cash flow? And real estate was, that was the answer. So,
yeah. So in 2012, how did you acquire properties, and how many did you acquire after 2012, and kind of what were those year periods?
Yep. So I think in 2012, we bought maybe 3 properties in 2012. So we bought in 2012, 13, 14, 15. I think 2016 started to feel a little toppy. We just kept going up, and I was thinking at some point it's going to slow down, and it did kind of level out a little bit in 2016, but then bought more in 17, 18. I mean, right now we have 18 total properties. One's our primary and 17 rentals. And then we do have a 13 unit building in Kansas that I own 50-50 with a business partner. But I mean, we were buying them at the auction. So, one of the first ones that I bought was a condo downtown Phoenix for like $76,000. So, I had saved that money. I paid cash for it and then did a cash out refinance and then just kind of kept going. So cash flow wasn't as good at that point, but now, I mean, just this last couple months, I mean, I've raised rents almost $1,000 on just a couple properties that we have.
It's just awesome to hear, like somebody who decides, hey, I'm going to park my money out of my real estate company and go park it into real estate to go do the passive game. You have to have some peace of mind. Do you have like peace of mind thinking like, hey, if the market ever does something troubling financially, that you feel like you're more secure?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to get to, get to financial independence. I'm a big fan of the FIRE community. I don't know if you've heard of FIRE community.
I have.
But, Choose FI is a great podcast. And, really, I mean, that's what I'm passionate about is passive income, and rentals. I mean, I love real estate and helping people buy real estate, but, I also want to have that financial freedom, so if the market does turn or, Open Door, OfferPad, all these companies come in and, being a realtor doesn't exist in a couple of years, I'm still going to be okay. Right. I got money coming in from passive income. I know how to fix and flip homes, so I would say for agents that are listening, try to, find other ways to get income coming in other than just being a realtor. So learn how to fix and flip, buy a rental property. And I mean, it just takes one. The hard part is people are flipping homes, or, it's easy to get a property, fix it up, and, hey, I can make a quick 60,000 or whatever, versus holding it and making $200 a month.
Right.
It doesn't feel very sexy, having one rental at $200 or $300 a month, but, have 5, 10, 15, 20 properties, and it really starts to snowball. Same thing with the market. I mean, we had record appreciation, right? Over 30% last year. And so if you take your whole value of your real estate that you own, I think our value right now on our portfolio is right at around 8 million. So, the market goes up 30%, that's a pretty big increase. Now it's all just paper money, right? Until you refinance or whatever. But that's the other thing I would say is track your net worth. So a lot of agents don't do that, a lot of people in general, but that was one thing my business partner said was track your net worth and, just focus on growing it.
Yeah, I like that you went the direction of tracking, and I'm just a huge fan of it. I track like obnoxiously, I track everything. I live on spreadsheets, and from like my weight to my goals, to my money, to my net worth. And, it's interesting because I always sometimes feel like I'm an odd bird when I'm sitting there and I'm tracking everything, but yet I have found that everything that I'm tracking usually is doing well. And the things that I'm not tracking, I have found lack, so it's just very interesting that you've got those people that are, and so that are just willing to track. And I think willing to just, try to be better and look at their goals and say like, what's next? So you said you got that from a business partner?
Yep. Yeah. He was a ex-banker. So,
Okay.
he's very, money oriented, but that was his thing, is just track your net worth. And, I've been doing it ever since. I have a spreadsheet. I'm just like you. I have a spreadsheet with all my rentals and, kind of where we're at numbers wise and everything. So, it's, they say what you track, you can improve, right? So if you're not tracking it, it's really hard to improve it.
Yeah.
And then we have rentals, and then we did end up buying a property. It was a mobile home, fixed it up, and then sold it. And I'm carrying the note on that. So that was my first investment like that, where I'm carrying the note. So that's going good. He hasn't given it back to me yet. And then we have a couple other just personal notes that we've done with the company. I'm happy to share that with you or your guest as well.
Yeah.
And it's Narada Capital. And so we have some investments with them, $100,000 note, but we're making 15% money. They just direct deposit into your account every month on the 1st. And it's just another good way. So I had a personal line of credit of 100,000 at like 5%, just sitting there doing nothing. I wasn't using it, right? And so I'm like, how can I take this money and make money with it? So now I'm making like net $800 a month or something like that. So
off the home equity, off the personal line of credit.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a very unique way to do it, is do a home equity line of credit, lend it out and make more.
Yep.
I haven't heard that from many. So what do you think it is that, why do you think more agents don't think of the investing side? Do you think they don't think they'll get to 82 and want to have passive income? Or do you think they're living above their means and just can never get caught up? Or do you think it's just living day to day and just don't think about the future? I just wonder like why there's yous out there that are probably intensely focused on the future. And then there's other people who, don't even know what they're doing tonight.
Right.
What do you think separates those people?
It's tough. I mean, everybody's situation is different, right? And real estate is not an easy profession. And really, like you said, I mean, you have to start saving money to be able to buy something. Is for a rental. I would say the easiest thing for people to do if you want to get your first rental is if you already own your own home and it would be a good rental property, buy your next property and don't sell your property that you currently live in and turn that into a rental. That's the easiest way to do it. I mean, that's how I did it myself. Otherwise, you can look for a property. I mean, the last few properties that I have gotten have been through listing appointments that I went on. And, they were properties that needed to be fixed up. And, I said, well, here's your options. We can list it for retail. These are the things that you could do to improve your property. And then, if you want to sell it for cash, no commissions, no repairs, no appraisal, no inspection, nothing, close whenever you want. Even give people 60 days post possession at no cost as well to find something else. And we've had a few people take us up on that. So, I would say look for an opportunity everywhere. And that's where you're going to find them. I mean, I have agents that know I flip homes too. So I have people call and say, hey, Kyle, I have a property that needs some work. You might be interested in it.
Do you feel that when somebody calls you for a listing, you have more work to do because you're running the numbers on it? I know I do. Almost every house that I get, or every listing that I get that I go on, that's probably under about 450 right now. I'm just running math before I go there. I'm like, okay, if they want to go this direction, obviously I've got to be in the best interest of them. But if there's going to be a direction where they want to do it or get it sold quickly and they're going to go to another option, I can still be that option for them. I find anymore on everything I'm running numbers, and I can do it so quickly anymore to think like, do I even want to do more research? But I remember the other day I came into the office and I had a listing I was going on, and instantly I just start jotting down numbers. And I was like, man, I'm just you're just an investor at heart, and you don't know how to get out of your own way sometimes. But I really like what you said about the organic, almost like the organic buying. And like, my first rental property was a condo that I lived in. Turned it into a rental, and then went to a next house in Desert Ridge, did the same thing. And for the first few, it was simple. It was, buying houses for 3.5%, 5% down because they were primaries. It gets a little harder, I think, when you got to start actually putting like the 20, 25% downs and buying it as like a true investment. But that's the same advice I give to everybody too. It's just take that first one, or, go buy something that might not be the coolest house now, but with the intentions of, hey, I'm living here, or me and my family are living here for a year or two to say it's my primary. And then I know this isn't my long-term house, but it's the one that gets me the primary mortgage. And then, the world will open up in the next few years as far as what you can do next. And I find that some people are so into that short-term, they want that house now. And it's like, hey, I even tell some of my clients, hey, go buy that house over there. It might not have been exactly what you said, but I can tell you the numbers are going to work out pretty sweet when you want to rent that out in 2 years. And so I like how you said you did that, because that was my same journey with investing. So, okay. So you've got like the 17 that you hold, and then the primary, you've got your notes that you're doing. That's super cool. And then you say you got the like lending of money that you're doing on a 15%. So you just wake up every day and think, how do I invest money?
Pretty much. Okay. Yep. Just trying to continue to grow my passive income number. I mean, my goal, like in Choose FI, they talk about your freedom number, right? Your FI number. And so basically what you do is you take, whatever your annual expenses are times 25, and that's essentially your financial free number. Okay. Where you could withdraw 4% on that amount every year for like 30 years, and it's like a 90 something % chance of not running out of money. So like I'm trying to be like double that number. My goal's been about $20,000 a month coming in passive income. I'm just broke the 20,000 number based on all the different passive income streams that we have. So it's not just on rentals. Our rental income's about 17,000 a month right now. So I'm going to still keep going, because I feel like, you can never have enough, right? And then you can bless other people as well. So it's, it's kind of a game as well to me. I enjoy it. And that's my passion though.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I like how you said, I always joke with my wife and say, I've gamified the things that I want in life, because I'm trying to have fun while I'm doing it. I'm so methodical, right? But yeah, I like how you say that. Like, I gamify it through like spreadsheets. I play these metric games, and I'm like, I'm really just in a race with myself. I mean, who's keeping, like it's not like you're racing anybody out there. So
Right.
it's just like you have your own internal race you're playing in, and you keep track of it. You know if you're winning or losing, and that's awesome, man. I'm stoked to hear realtors that are investing in real estate. That's why I brought you on, because when we were messaging back and forth, I could tell that that's where your passion was. And I'm hopeful that more and more realtors will, like, for example, I go to some masterminds and we always talk about like, what's the future of the market? Is real estate going to be around? And then you also hear in the same breath, people are like, I'm parking all my money back into growing my real estate company. And I'm like, whoa, like we had two things just happen there. We talked about, the real estate market might not be around, meaning like realtors, whatever. And then the next thing we're talking about, all right, we're parking all of our money back into our real estate company. I'm like, wait, like this is weird. Like, yes, you got to keep enough cash flow in your company to obviously run it, grow it, but also you could be taking a healthy amount out of it every year and, parking it into other things that aren't what you're attached to and are contingent on markets and things like that. So where do you see, where is your goal right now? And I'm sure yours moves like mine, but like as of right now, do you have like a number that you say, oh, if I got to that, I'd be good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably pretty close to that number. Like I said, I just crossed the 20,000 number, and that was been my number for a while. And it still, to me, feels like I can't just stop there. And I don't know why that is, but at some point too, you have to figure out, when is enough, right? And so I'm kind of at that point trying to decide that right now. I'm 42 years old. My kids are 13 and 10. And so, trying to just put things into perspective. And, I want to be at all the games for my kids and all that, and not be so focused on real estate all the time that you miss out on everything else. Right.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do, but, if the market changes, if the market goes down, if real estate income goes down, if I have rental properties, you're really protected that way. And most people only think about cash flow, the monthly cash flow, but you actually make money like 5 different ways on a rental property. And, so you make money on cash flow, right? You make money on debt pay down. So your tenants are paying down your debt. Appreciation. Did I say that already? Appreciation,
Yeah.
Depreciation, debt pay down. And then, let's see, you can inflation hedge, right? You lock in a rate at a low rate now and pay it back with cheaper dollars over time. And I think I'm missing one other one, but there's basically 5 ways. So Keith Weinhold has a really cool podcast called Get Rich Education. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
I haven't.
I have I listen to a ton of podcasts. I read a lot of books, and, try to just consume as much content and information as I can, and always trying to learn. I think that's another thing that, is good for realtors is, listen to investing podcasts, network with other agents that are actually doing it. I'm happy to answer questions for any of your listeners, or, anybody that is interested or has questions. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Yeah, it's awesome that you say just like listening to podcasts and books and things like that, just educating yourself. I just went to a mastermind recently and we talked about cost segregation.
Yep.
And I'd never even heard the word. And I listened to so much stuff and read so much stuff. And my mind was blown. I called a company and just what I saved on taxes was just insane. And I was like, how did I just walk away from this mastermind and then save that much in taxes by one phone call? It really made me realize how in a day we don't get involved. Some of us don't just go and try to grow. It's like, we sit in these positions where we feel maybe like in our own room that we're doing good, but I'm always trying to like get in a room where I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not the smartest guy, which I put me in almost any room and that's the case. But, it's so interesting if we just go and actually listen to stuff or go into groups or masterminds and things like that, you really realize that there's a lot of smarter people out there. And also that you're super smart at something as well. So it's almost like between everybody, you can really level up. And I think that's a unique thing with the just real estate community, with investors and even realtors, that not every industry has things that, they have podcasts like this or masterminds or coaching. We're a very odd industry where like, that's like giving back is what's cool. And I really like it. What do you think what are your biggest obstacles right now? Like in your, let's just say like in your real estate company, what are like your biggest challenges?
I would say biggest challenges right now is just trying to find inventory,
Yeah.
find properties to purchase for rentals. So I just bought one in December, was going to do the burst strategy on it. I don't know if I'm sure you're familiar with that, but
Yeah.
buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, right? And basically your initial purchase and your 20%, your rehab and everything in there is like 75% of what the property will be worth after repair value. And so I bought one in December, just fixed it up, and my interest rate that I was quoted was like 4.375. So it was going to be about a 350 a month positive cash flow. And just checked with the lender last week, and rates are 6.375. So they jumped up 2 points and basically went from 350 cash flow to like 70. And I think rates are even a little higher now. So, what I'm gonna do is I was gonna keep it as a rental property, but now I'm just gonna sell it. It just doesn't make sense to keep it. I could keep it if the market ended up, changing, or rents go down. I mean, tenant trashes the carpet. I'm already at like such a break even number. It just doesn't make sense to hold it. But whenever I buy something, I look at having like one or two different exit strategies, so if one plan doesn't work, you can shift into another plan and it's still a win-win on no matter what happens,
Yeah.
So rates going up, I would say that's the other challenge. And, rates and inventory personally.
Okay.
Once you get over 10 loans, there are some lenders that you can only do 4 loans. And then there's other lenders that you can have 10. So we're over our 10 loans, and, you have to get alternative financing, which just makes it tougher to qualify, and, rates are not as good. So
in the like in your real estate company, so inventory is a huge challenge. Like how are you handling that right now? I mean, we get a lot of referrals, and there's a price point now that 2 years ago you'd be like, cool, we're gonna find you a house in a week or two, and now you're like, these people are getting referred to us that you would think should get somebody a home, but just between the price point and how much they have to throw at the problem cash, you might not think that they can get a home. How are you handling the amount of showings you're having to do for a buyer and having to run so quickly? Do you have any type of like leverage that you have in place of people helping you do that?
we do. I mean, like I said, my parents are on my team, so they help show. We have other agents at the office too that can help show our clients. But I mean, it's really just a challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
the clients have to be willing to, write offers until they get something accepted. I got
Sure.
numerous clients right now where we're up to like offer 5 or 6 and still not getting anything accepted. And, I'm not throwing in the towel, right?
Uh-huh.
And as long as you still, still hustle. I mean, sometimes, if you can connect good with the listing agent, sometimes that helps. I mean, you have to think of any possible way you can to try to get your client a house. You're going to get something, but it's a challenge, and everybody's dealing with the same thing right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, I just closed on one like 3 or 4 days ago, and I looked in their file and it was their 14th offer. And these were sight unseen offers. They're an investor and they're still willing to just pay the going rate for houses. They weren't looking for any type of like discount. But I'm like, well, that was 14 sight unseen offers, all of them. And I'm like, that would have been a lot of manpower if these were actually looking at homes and,
right.
finding the right kitchen and things like that. Like they were just looking for, everything was just a numbers game to them. And I'm good at running those numbers just because I have rentals. But yeah, I'm doing more and more, interviewing of people on the podcast, and you're just like, it's a lot, when we have no inventory is just a huge challenge. I mean, we're not talking, like we're talking so many people qualified for homes and just no inventory. And it's a little taxing at times, but then it's also still so rewarding on the other end. So it's interesting to like reconcile all that in one day.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with rates going up. Rates going up, people can afford less home, but at the same time, if you do have clients that have 3% or 2.5% interest rates, how excited are they going to be to make a move and pay 5%? You know what I mean? So like, people think when the interest rates go up that, the market's going to go down or prices are going to go down, which, it will put downward pressure on pricing. But at the same time, people also hesitate to make the move because of the higher rates. So that'll be a supply squeeze as well. I don't think until we see a lot more supply hit the market that, things are going to really change that much for us here in Phoenix anyways. I mean, like last week or the week before, I looked up, there was only like 2,600 homes for sale in all of Maricopa County.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's a big, for anybody listening out of state. That's how many cities are in Maricopa? Like, 30. I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I mean, this is it's a big county. That's 2,700 homes. You're like, whoa.
Yep. And back in the day when the market crashed, when things ran up, I think there was around 3,000 to 5,000 homes for sale. That was when we had a bunch of multiple offers. Then when the market fell apart, there were 60,000 homes on the market.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, like a normal market for us here in Phoenix is around 30,000 listings. And, we're way, way, way below that right now.
Yeah. What are you most excited about for the upcoming year? Like, what is something that you're just like, this is super fun when it comes to like real estate?
I would say for me is my dad, he was working full time for the government. He finally retired this year. So I'm trying to get my parents to hit 100,000 GCI commission.
Nice.
So that's one of my goals. And then also picking up a couple more rental properties. I want to get to 20. So okay. I was going to be at 18 with this one, but now I'm going to sell it and, just trying to buy more properties.
Okay. Nice, man. That's cool. I'm glad to hear your goals. So it's to get your parents to 100 and get your 20th. That's awesome, man. Well, yep. Dude, I appreciate you jumping on. I think it's super cool that you are just so passionate about, investing. And I just applaud you for those goals that you have and that you just go out every day and try to grind and make them happen. So I appreciate you coming on the show. I think that people probably learned a lot just about your mindset and how you look at, parking money and all the different ways that you can make an ROI. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, Chris, you're welcome, man. I appreciate it. And like I said, happy to keep in touch with you or answer any questions that anybody has. So I'm happy to help any way I can.
Right on, buddy. Hey, have a good day.
All right, guys, you too. See you later,
man.